Forever young, or am I faking? On the tip of my tongue, there's a sarcasm waiting for you. I'm willing to trade my soul for a bit of your charm. There's no way I'll fade into oblivion, 'cause I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. There's mud on the floor, desperate people trying to get through the door, although the room's already crowded. But I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. Zeros, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. And keep trying again. I'll keep shining over you all. With your wings entwining, you better face the fall. Zero, everybody's trying to be heroes, when all they have to say to be okay is I don't know. Are you okay? I'm not that sure. Forever young, or am I faking? On the tip of my tongue, there's a sarcasm waiting for you. I'm willing to trade my soul for a bit of your charm. There's no way I'll fade into oblivion, 'cause I'll keep shining over you all. And if your wings entwining, you better face the fall, keep trying again. Oh yeah, keep trying again. There's mud on the floor.
It's a road few dare to travel, a journey filled with danger and unpredictability. So why do we traverse this road? Why do we take such a gamble? Because if we don't try, we'll never know what we could have achieved. That's why we strap in, rev up, and fix our focus on the ultimate prize. Because the reward is well worth the risk. The 2021 Nnscra Daytona 500, Saturday, February 20th, exclusively.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another presentation on the Flatout Racing Network, the Nnscra 2021 Daytona 500 benefiting St. Jude. My name is Nathan McCurry. So happy to have you along here for our third installment of the Nnscra 500. A thing that's been going on for the last 3 years. First race started back in 2018, and then it took a little break and then came back and had a second edition. We're now racing for the third time here in the Nnscra for the 500. It's going to be so much fun to see these guys go around the track, especially because we're using the car of tomorrow for today's race. Think back to 2007 when this car was first released. Side of controversy, but some good racing that did come out of it. So we're going to take these COTs rather around Daytona, and they're just going to start rolling off for the Daytona 500 here. And coming into this race, there are some storylines going in. Andrew Lemke, who won the second race, the second Daytona 500, is in this field tonight. He is looking to defend his Daytona 500 victory. Now, you've got some drivers that are looking to take that away from him. Also, Shane Sides, who won the first Daytona 500, not in this field. So we only have one defending winner of this race. There's Seth Cole, the man who put this race together. He's going to be starting, he's going to be lined up second row on the low side for tonight's race. So we'll see how he goes. But 80 laps of racing here in Daytona Beach, Florida. Perfect weather here for a race. And I got to say, these cars love it when they can get going and get fast. And we're going to see some fast racing here tonight as they're spreading out, getting ready for the race. Solo commentating in the booth for myself. You're stuck with me tonight, so hopefully we all get acquainted together, because I know that we are going to have so much fun here at Flatout Racing Network bringing this race to you all. Now, the pole sitter is going to be Bob Simonera in the 712. If Bob Simonera is a familiar name, then you might know him from the RTG leagues that race on the Flatout Racing Network. He, and alongside of a lot of RTG regulars, are in this field tonight. We should see them to be some of the favorites to win this race, as they are the drivers of the RTG Talladega Challenge series that happens on Thursday night. So a lot of these drivers familiar with how super speedway racing happens. So we'll look to see how they all do tonight, as I don't think we're going to green just yet. And I can confirm that we are not going to green. So they're going to line up in the qualifying order that was set, I believe, a week ago. They will get this race underway. So Bob Simonera will line up on the front row. He's won the pole for tonight's race. He set the fastest lap time earlier than the week. So Simonera will be starting P1. P2 will be Dante Ricci in the 85. Set the fastest time on our qualifying session about a week's time ago, last Saturday. So these two drivers, they know where they're going to line up. These other drivers, they also know where they're going to line up, but they are going to have to work their way up to the front of the field in order to get this win done. Bob Simonera is no stranger to super speedway racing. Like we said, neither is Dante Ricci. These two both are familiar faces in the RTG league, and you got some drivers back there that are also going to be with them. You have names like John Godfrey. You have names like Cody Lamas. These drivers are familiar with racing at super speedways as well, as you see them all fanning out on the back straightaway to get lined up for tonight's race. Greg Palmer, also very familiar face for super speedway racing. A lot of guys here that are favored to win at super speedways, they know how to get it done. If they can get together, get a run going, everything for them should be all cut and dry, as long as you find some friends to work with you. These cars are good for two-car tandemings. The back end and the front ends line up perfect for racing two-car tandems that we should see a little bit of tonight. But we'll have to wait and see if these drivers will dare do it. A lot of drivers aren't familiar with each other as well, so the drivers that are looking for friends will have to kind of find friends where they can find them. Maybe have some manufacturer alliances, perhaps get in with a little bit of rivalries that need to be settled out. Maybe the rivals will work together and try to see if they can work together for tonight's race. Maybe some rivalries coming into this race will get even more heated and we'll see them kind of boil over maybe in their respective series when they go back to it. But there are no points on the line in this race. This is the one time, maybe, well, not really the one time, but a lot of times throughout the year that these drivers can really just let it all hang out and see what they can do, see what they can get out of these machines. And these are some fast machines. We saw some fast laps in qualifying, and they were blazing fast on solo car runs. Can't wait to see what they can do in packs. But we're about ready to go green for the third running of the Nnscra Daytona 500. Bob Seminara will lead them down to the line, waiting to get to the line until he takes the green, already bumping. We are green flag racing here in Daytona, and Seminara did not get a good start as he's going to be passed on the top side by Dante Ritchie in the 84. Dante Ritchie going and passing and getting clear. Now seeing if he can find some space to get underneath. He's still staying on the outside line. The outside line, one of the lines that can work the best tonight. Seeing if he can maybe stay up there for the time being. Down ducks to the inside. He's going to have this 712 behind him and Seminara trying to get back in line. And you have the 8 of Grant Wesley trying to make a move as well. Wesley is another one of those RTG guys that are going to try and work with them as well. He's coming up the inside, does Wesley on Seminara. What can he do? Can he get the run going? So far, Richie is trying to stay on the outside line, not too keen on moving down. In fact, is now in a battle side by side between Richie and Wesley. Wesley at the line, does he get him? No, he cannot. Richie will lead the first lap of the Daytona 500, and man, these guys are already spreading out. There's already a bit of cars spreading out in the back too. As you can see, they're starting to form a couple of grooves. These guys up front, they're going to kind of get into separate packs this race. We'll normally see that these drivers, that one pack will go to the back, another pack will kind of scamper away, try to get as much track position as possible. But this is a long race, 80 laps tonight. We're already working effectively lap 2. It's technically lap 3, but still a fantastic run so far for these drivers, as so far it looks like the outside line is working to Richie's benefit, as he has not been able to really have a challenge on the low side. He's got Seminara pushing him. Those two drivers seem like they can get things done. We've seen them work together a lot, and there's a car off the track in the back. That's a yellow car. Have to see who that was, as he's on the inside. That's Cole Deaver. Cole Deaver's out, had a spin. He's now onto the apron, or on the pit road, and that was Andrew Lemke. The defending winner of the Daytona 500 finds himself in a bit of trouble on lap 4, trying to get back going, and he has gone back going. But a battle between Cole Deaver and Andrew Lemke has left us with our first incident of the night. No caution. I don't believe we were under caution, so we're going to keep racing. But man, I don't know what happened there. We'll have to go back and look at it later on once we have a break. But there's a lot of action happening at the front of the field. Deaver is now getting service. Lemke is very far behind. Don't know if he's going to be able to get back with the pack, if he's going to have to come down pit road. Not sure what kind of damage there is on the 70 machine. Right now at the front, though, it is still single file racing. Well, now it is single file racing. Dante Ritchie still leading the way. Back here, you've got side by side between John Godfrey and Grant Wesley on the inside in the 8. Wesley was trying to form a charge, but the inside line has kind of fallen off, and now you can see the outside line picking up a bit of momentum. Is on the outside line now goes Jessica Shelton. Jessica Shelton also not very unfamiliar with Talladega and Daytona racing. Super Speedway racing make that. She's taken part in a number of super speedway races, and she is again up here towards the front, trying to see if she can get this win. A lot of drivers now trying to single file out. There's a couple of the Home Depot cars back there trying to form an alliance. Those, I believe, are teammates. We'll have to go back and look at them. Greg Palmer on the inside now of the 17, trying to make something work on the inside line. Him and Wesley, nothing seems to get going, and you've got the 48 behind trying to push with them. The outside line, though, is just too strong. I don't know if they're able to get the inside line really going at all, as there's not that many cars on the inside line in the train at the moment. Joe DeSpirito in the 44 back there trying to catch up on the outside line as well. Chris Elliott, and the 9 is now joined up with this group. He's bringing in a host of cars with him. 48 of Lamas trying to make something work. Oh, there's some contact back there. I believe that was a red car. I think that was Tim Nnscra. We'll have to go back and see, but I think that the caution might be out because of that. They're slowing down, so yeah, the yellow flag has come out as a result of that. Not sure who that was. Oh, there's a spin on the back straightaway as well, so we are under yellow for the first time tonight. It was RJ Bishop who was probably the one that spun around in the back straightaway, and Jim Black also might have been involved in that one, as we are under caution for the first time this evening, and it looks like it might have been just contact on the back straightaway. We're going to go take a look and see what happened to bring out our first yellow of the evening. And something suspiciously sinks into my brain that it might be just contact coming out of turn 2. Backing up to see what it is. They were racing pretty calmly, it looked like, and I don't know if maybe someone just got a little squirrely. Looks like that Jim Black actually wasn't the one who caused this. We're going to take a quick peek at it. Oh, okay. We're getting there. All right, cool. So, yeah, it looks like just on the inside line here, you have Sonny Talman. He gets on the apron and then just loops the car around, going right in front of everybody. Oh, you can see Matthew Rodriguez in the 6 get a little punt there, and these cars are just trying to avoid it. So it looks like that it was just initially a solo car spin, and then it became something much worse as Sonny Talman was the first one to spin around. Just an awful bit of timing for a lot of these drivers. Nothing really that you could do to avoid that, really. Just got a little piece of the apron. I'm not sure if when he got the apron, I think that might have been some arrow that just lifted the car up and there was nothing that he could have done to avoid it. Jim Black was one of those drivers that had to check up severely before he was going to get some contact, as we're going to ride on board with the 86 of Black. See, he's just barreling in. He's kind of lost the draft a little bit and just barreling in, and then you can see that what's happening in front of him, and it's just a spin in front, trying to get on the brakes, trying on the apron, and just loses the car and does a good job to not hit the inside wall, did the 86. So no harm, no foul, no damage, but those tires are going to have to be changed on the 86 if he's going to be anywhere up to speed. But good save by the 86. So a solo car spin that really did take a lot of these drivers out of the running a little bit, but not too much, as there wasn't so much damage going on between these drivers. Hopefully they will continue on and be relatively okay, as a few drivers, including Sonny Talman, have come down pit road. We'll go back to our live cams, as right now it is Seth Cole leading the race. And Seth Cole, I believe, was one of the drivers that didn't stay out, so he is right now in the lead. In fact, a couple drivers didn't stay out. You've got Seth Cole right now in the lead of the race, and then you've got Miller, the 47. Now they are going to come down to pit. I believe they were just trying to get a lap led. So now you've got Cole and Miller coming down to service their machines. Probably going to be 4 tires and fuel, or maybe just fuel. We'll see them come down pit road. That's going to hand the lead back over to Dante Ritchie in the 84. And then you have the 8 of Grant Wesley that's going to be right behind them. A few shuffles that happen under caution, and we are waiting to get the lights to go back under green. A long race for these drivers that they have to go through. We're on lap 9. They've still got 70 laps to go, 71 laps to go next time they come around. So still a long way to go for these drivers. And man, something that really struck me with that one is it wasn't necessarily a big group of cars that really brought that yellow out. It was a solo car that got down on the apron, and we've had been listening in on a lot of these drivers throughout practice and practice and happy hour, the warm-up before the race, is that they were having some steering issues. Some of them were. I believe Matthew Rodriguez was one of the drivers that was having some steering issues with his machine. Not sure if it's the track temps that these cars are just not liking, or the fact that maybe their setups might be slightly altered between the two, all the drivers, but that might have been a situation where we see some drivers maybe not suited to their how their car is set up. Maybe there's not to their liking. They're trying to figure out a way to get those cars to handle correctly for them and have to get settled in. It's a long way to go, but we were lucky to get out of that wreck without any major damage on some cars. I know that I would assume that Matthew Rodriguez would be the one with the most damage out of all those drivers in the 6. Let's take a look and see if we can find where he's running at. There's Cole Deaver. I believe he's coming to get one of his laps back. And the 6, I believe, might be further up through the field. No, there he is. He's running at the tail end of the field. So not sure what kind of damage is on the 6 machine. He was one of those that came in and couldn't get stopped in enough time. So hopefully him and Tailman will be able to get away without too much damage. As Lamas is also back there as he had to check up for some reason. But there's the 3 trying to get his lap back. We'll wait until the lights go out atop the pace car, and then we will put him back on the lead lap as the lights have gone out. He'll get the wave around, and he'll come back through and get back with at least one of his laps, if not multiple laps. Not sure how many laps down he is. 30, he's 2 laps down. He gets one of his laps back. So 34 drivers have started the race. 33 drivers, I believe, are still in the race. I think RJ Bishop might have retired from the race. I haven't seen him scrolling through. He is 5 laps down, so not sure what the state of RJ Bishop is, but 33 at least are running. We'll have to check up and see where RJ Bishop is as Cole Deaver's coming around. Tailman is still getting damage repaired on the 90. He's on pit road. Lamas with another stop trying to get back out. There's a lot of late takers. Miller's coming back out. Tristan Allen's coming back out. Matthew Rodriguez coming back out. Michael Norman. And then you have T. Talman coming out. He's trying to get back on the place. And here comes Muir also trying to get back up to the front. Buchanan. There's a lot of drivers that took some last lap pit stops. As seems like we're looking around here, and that's it. I believe that RJ Bishop has taken that car behind the wall. So 33 runners still in the race, and I think that I believe that Cole Deaver is the only driver that is a lap down. So tough break for that machine. We'll hope to see him maybe get another one of his laps back. He's only a lap down at this point now, so he is in the free pass position if another caution were to come out. Grant Wesley is going to line up on the inside line, but the leader is Dante Ritchie in the 84. He will take us back to the green flag. He's elected the outside line for the restart as we're getting them set to go back under green. Pace car will peel off pit road, and we will get these cars back underway as we will have 70 laps to go once we cross the stripe here in the third Daytona 5, or the third Nnscra Daytona 500, I should say, as we're getting to the line. Green flag will come out when they get the line. Green flag is out now, and we're back ready to race. And Grant Wesley with a big jump was able to get a whale of a start on his on his RTG mate, and now he's gone back into the lead. That inside line seems to only really work on the restarts, but he's been able to make it work flawlessly, as it seems that Grant Wesley was not able to get the car going and up in front. Mark Paglia has gotten in front of Ritchie, trying to get and to stay in front of the 84. He has done a good job getting in front, and now they'll fall back to single file all the way back to, I believe, 5th place. That is the 44 back there of Joe DeSpirito, another RTG guy coming up through the field, trying to get back up to, or trying to get to the front, as he had a pretty low starting position back in the middle of the pack, so he's trying to get his way back up. Jessica Shelton on the inside line. Now this is where the inside line may not work so well for these guys. The inside line we saw earlier, where it was Grant Wesley trying to get that inside line to work, but no one was really able to have it work, as the middle groove into the high groove seems to be the ones to go around this track. You see a lot of these drivers are opting to take that middle lane. It seems to be where all the speed is for these drivers, so maybe if they can stay in the middle lane, they'll be able to get, that's the fastest way around the track. But, oh, we're under yellow again. The yellow flag has flown yet again. We're racing back to the line. Mark Paglia going to the inside. Can he get to the inside? He does have a drafting partner in the form of Ritchie. Can he get the pass done on Wesley? Yes, he can. Coming out of turn number 4. He's going to get the pass done, and he's going to try and get it to the line, but here comes Wesley on the outside line. He's got DeSpirito pushing him. Can he get to the line? And Paglia will bring us down to the yellow flag, and we're not sure why we're under yellow. His car's spinning out in the back, though, as they had to get on the brakes hard. I don't know who that was. That was a red car that spun around. RJ Bishop is on pit road, so he hasn't retired yet, but there was a red car that got around, and there he is. That is Ronald Luzier. He spun around, and Matthew Rodriguez has spun around, coming to take the yellow flag. So what has put us under yellow is the question. There doesn't seem to be anybody that would have brought us under the yellow flag, but we're going to take a look and see what happened, as Paglia is going to be your leader at the line. A lot of drivers fanning out to avoid being hit. So we're going to see if it was indeed Matthew Rodriguez that did bring out this yellow flag. I don't think he did. I don't think it was RJ Bishop either, but he is the only one on pit road. So we're going to see if that might have been him in the 40. Rewinding it just a little bit. I don't think that was him. Looking to see where the yellow flag came out. So was the yellow flag out at that point? Yes, it was. So it might have been RJ Bishop, because that would have been the only indicator. He's the only one on pit road. Gonna keep backing it up. Oh, yeah, it was RJ Bishop. This might have taken the 40 car out of the race at this point. It was in the tri-oval. Wow, there was a major flip that happened with the 40 cars. Oh, this actually extends back into turn 3 even. So there's a lot of things that happened, and it started with the 4 machine. So take a look at this. We're going to look at this in real time. So the 4 of Buchanan is on the inside of the racetrack, and he is going to blow up. We're looking at it live. 4 car on the inside. Actually doesn't blow up. He gets to that apron again. So that was a similar situation that we saw happen with Tailman earlier on. So Buchanan gets a little bit of the apron, saves it though, and then further up the field, you see RJ Bishop have the same thing happen to him as he gets on the grass. Then he goes back up on the race surface. Then he spins the car around and in the grass, he's got it slowed down, backs up on the racetrack, and bam, the 4 side swipes or T-bones the 40, and that sends both of them spinning down onto the inside of the racetrack, and that is what has brought out our yellow flag. A combination of the apron and sliding back up onto the tri-oval has brought us under our second yellow flag of the evening, and RJ Bishop, slow roll for him as he backed up the car, and I believe that might have, and then his engine expires on the 40, so that might be both RJ Bishop and Zach Buchanan out of the race. That is detrimental, and that's the second time that we have seen the apron cause problems for these drivers. If you think back to a lot of these races, it doesn't seem to be the apron that catches out drivers as much as it would be just racing in a pack. But so far, Tailman, Zach Buchanan, and RJ Bishop's victims of the apron. And again, it might go back to some of these cars not handling the way that some of these drivers would like them to, and they're trying to make the best of what they have. But Paglia will be the leader. No one has come down pit road, as they were just on pit road a few laps ago. So we're going to see if they're going to take the green flag next time by, or they're going to go around one more time, as we're under pacing for the second time tonight. And so far, so good for a lot of these front runners. They really haven't had anything bad happen to them. The inside line is trying to get a run going, but so far nothing going for them. But Paglia is going to lead them around one more time. So we're going to take a quick commercial break. We'll be right back to the Nnscra Daytona 500 benefiting St. Jude, the third running of the Nnscra Daytona 500, and we will be right back to you after these commercial breaks. Don't go anywhere. You're watching the Flatout Racing Network live.
It's a road few dare to travel, a journey filled with danger and unpredictability. So why do we traverse this road? Why do we take such a gamble? Because if we don't try, we'll never know what we could have achieved. That's why we strap in, rev up, and fix our focus on the ultimate prize. Because the reward is well worth the risk. The 2021 Nnscra Daytona 500, Saturday, February 20th, exclusively on Flatout Racing Network.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
It's a road few dare to travel, a journey filled with danger and unpredictability. So why do we traverse this road? Why do we take such a gamble? Because if we don't try, we'll never know what we could have achieved. That's why we strap in, rev up, and fix our focus on the ultimate prize. Because the reward is well worth the risk. The 2021 Nnscra.
Welcome back to the third running of the Nnscra Daytona 500 live on the Flatout Racing Network. We are about ready to go back to green flag racing. We'll be going back to racing on lap 17 of 80. Something that really that caution benefited, or someone that caution benefited, was Cole Devers. He's gotten another one of his laps back, and now he is going to be running on the lead lap. So a big break for the 3 machine, as he will get one of his laps back and be back up with the front runners. Not sure if that 3 car can be up to speed. He was involved earlier on, but hopefully that he will be back competitive racing with these guys once we go back to green. Paglia has selected the inside line for the restart. The 84 of Richie did not get a good restart the last time by, so I don't think is too keen on starting on the outside of the racetrack. And the inside line, I do believe that the inside line is a little bit better on the restarts and when you're just racing around in a pack. It seems like that you can get a little more grip down right on that inside line, but we're about ready to put them back under green. Safety car makes that hard left turn back onto the pit straight, and we are going back on to green flag racing, taking the green flag. Here we go, back to green flag, lap 17 of 80. Still a long way to go in this one, and a lot of time for these drivers to really make some moves. Not panic mode yet, but a lot of these drivers really need to get something going if some of them want to get to the front of the field. The way this race is going, it seems like it's really hard to pass, and now you see Paglia immediately ditching Richie and going up to the outside line to pick up Wesley in the 8. That outside line is the fastest line around this track, or the middle line really is the fastest line around this track. He wants to use that to his advantage, as now he's got a bit of a train behind him, including Wesley and Joe DeSpirito in the 44. And a bit of a train right there, and you have the 17 following suit. That's Jessica Shelton trying to follow this top group, and now Richie's trying to slide his way up into that position. I believe the 4th position. Oh, it is a little bit of contact between him and the 17 as they get back in line, trying to fight their way to get back into the line as Richie and Shelton make contact. But so far so green, as we're still racing. Look at them whiz by. Racing at well over 190 miles an hour. These cars are quick, and they're trying their hardest to link up and try to get some of these drafts to work. They're trying to get the inside line to work. There's just really hardly anywhere to pass on this racetrack. They're trying to get everything that they possibly can in order to make it so that they can get that inside line to work. That's about the only place that you're really going to be able to make a pass around this racetrack, as they're 3 wide back here. You've got John Godfrey on the inside line, and you've got Greg Palmer in the middle, trying to make it work. They do settle it out to 2 wide racing, but that could have been detrimental, and there's a spin in the back coming to the front straightaway. Not sure who that was wearing the yellow flag. Who was it? I saw 2 cars go around. That's Cole Baker and Tristan Allen slowing down. Michael Norman in the 10 is slow on the inside of the racetrack. And oh, there's another car. That's Cole Deaver in the 3. He had just gotten his laps back, and now he finds himself in another incident. Up for it, maybe Seth Cole was involved. Matthew Rodriguez is slow, but I think it was only 2 cars, so it might have just been Norman and Cole Deaver. They're both now on pit road. Yellow flag back out here at Daytona, and another couple of cars that got together. I don't think it was the apron that caused this one. I think they were in the middle of the racetrack heading towards the tri-oval. Have to look back and see what happened to put us under yellow flag for the 3rd time tonight. It started with Cole Deaver and Michael Norman. Gonna go back up and look and see what happened. The 10 is still sitting on pit road. Nothing going for them. Hopefully they can get back as they teleported to pit road. So who knows what kind of damage there is on that machine. And we're going to go to live, see what happened. We're looking on with Michael Norman. Oh, it looks like that the red machine in front got in front, and it actually wasn't just Cole Deaver. Another car got spinning in front. Couldn't quite tell who that was. Still trying to get familiar with who everyone is. And flipping goes Cole Deaver. What happened to Deaver that sent him flipping? That's the question that I have, and we're about to find out, as Deaver might have just plowed into everybody. I think that's all that happened with Deaver, but we'll have to see what happened between, it was Rob Evans and Ronald Luzier. So Luzier goes high up on the racetrack to block. I think that was what happened, is high up on the racetrack to block the oncoming 65, and Luzier, Rob Evans pounds the outside wall. Luzier keeps going. Evans spinning down through the tri-oval, trying to get it back onto the racetrack. He does, but unfortunately, here comes Cole Deaver in the 3 and just nails the side of the 65. It's flipping end over end, goes both the 3 and the 65 down through the tri-oval, and that is a hard impact for both those drivers. The 65 of Evans, I think his day might be done. That's an engine expired, so he's going to join the likes of Zach Buchanan and I believe RJ Bishop. I think he's retired from the race as well. But that was an intense accident, and that was the result. That was just a little tiny checkup on the part of Luzier. I don't think he really knew where Evans was on the racetrack, and a lot of kudos to some of these guys trying to get around and avoiding all of this. So you had the 2 Home Depot cars running at the back of the pack just by themselves. It's just a hard impact. We're going to ride on board with Michael Norman to give you an idea of what he saw. This is on board with the 10 as he's coming out of turn 3, or that turn 4. Yeah, just a little tiny tap, and that's all it really takes. And he almost avoided the pit wall. He did avoid the pit wall. Tires gone flat. He's stuck in the grass. I think that his tires were flat, and he just couldn't get back onto the pit road, and he teleported to pit road and maybe save some time. But that is what has put us under caution for the first, so make that the 3rd time tonight, as we're on board live now with the 10, as he is now back on the racetrack, but he is trying to go back down pit road. Not sure if there's still some damage on that machine. Tough break for a lot of these drivers as they're trying to get something going, trying to get a green flag run going for a lot of these drivers, as Michael Norman's coming back down pit road. Tristan Allen's also coming down pit road. You got Cody Lamas in the 48 also coming down. You've got Matthew Rodriguez coming down to make another stop. You got Nick Gunther coming down to make another stop. And then you got the 43 of Malin coming down to make another stop. So a lot of drivers looking to better their positions, trying to figure out a way what they can do to get their cars going again. And Seth Cole has also made a stop, so he's coming back out on the racetrack as we speak. So, and Nick Gunther as well in the 55 coming back out. So we're still under pacing. Looks like that the 47 Andrew Miller is going to be the leader. I think he might have stayed out that last time. He's been scored as making 4 pit stops, so he's been on pit road more than a lot of these other drivers have. Paglier behind him, for example. A lot of drivers, in fact, behind have stayed out, making Paglier stayed out, but it looks like that Richie, DeSpirito, Wesley, they might have come down pit road under that last exchange, and waiting to see if they put them back under green this time around. I think they will be. It'll give you a running of where your top 5 are. Andrew Miller in the 47 now finds himself leading the race after staying out under that last caution. He's going to come to take the green flag. And then we have Paglia in second place, Dante Ritchie in third, back to Joe DeSpirito still running in fourth place, and then Grant Wesley. That's pretty much been our top 5 for most of the race, aside for Andrew Miller. Now, another Andrew that we're looking through the field to find is our former winner, Andrew Lemke. You have to go all the way back to 15th to find that 10 machine, and here comes Miller down pit road. I think that he's going to make that hard left and make a stop, and he is indeed going to do so. So Paglia will inherit the lead off of that, and we're going to see if we're going to go back to green this time by. Lights atop the pace car have gone out, so we are going to go back to green this time by. It will be on lap 23 of 80. Still a long way to go for these drivers, and there's a lot vying for this race, as this race is benefiting St. Jude's Children's Hospital. So there's a lot of things happening in this race. A total of $75 will be donated to St. Jude's at the end of this race. And the way this race is set up is that if you race and get some good lap times and win the race, and your name will go into the pot of people who have donated St. Jude. For example, a $25 will be donated in the name of the person who leads the most laps. $25 will be put in the driver who led lap 40, our halfway point, and if you win the race, then your name will be donating $25. So you'll have a chance to donate to a good cause for pretty much the entire United States. St. Jude has done fantastic work in children's medicine, and we should see if they can we'll see if these drivers can make a fantastic race benefiting St. Jude tonight, as it's a great cause St. Jude is, and can't really thank St. Jude enough, as they've come out with some of the major breakthroughs in pediatric care for a lot of children around the world, and we are celebrating their achievements here tonight at the Daytona 500. So racing with a lot of drive for a lot of these drivers to have a good showing for them, and who knows, maybe they will get their name thrown in as someone who was able to make a difference for some kids somewhere, and that's a great cause, I think. And Paglia will vie for that. He's trying to get to lead lap 40. He's been out in front ever since he took the lead of the race earlier on, and I think that if he can stay out in front, he's got a fast car, he might be able to drive away with this and hopefully keep everyone behind him. That would be perfect for the 2018, but we're about ready to go back to green. Green flag is back out in the air. Paglia chose the inside line. It's the best place to do a restart, and you can tell why. He's gotten a big jump already over the 84 of Wesley on the outside line. He's pulling away now on the inside line. He's got DeSpirito right behind him in the 44. Trying to get a gap, trying to get DeSpirito to get clear of Ritchie. If he can get clear of Ritchie, then he can slide up and give the second place to the 44. That would be ideal for him, as we've seen all race long that middle line is just not going to go away. It's the fastest line around this racetrack once the cars get up to speed. As you can see up in front, Paglia is already using that outside line, and he's going to intercept Ritchie. But to the inside, DeSpirito trying to get that inside line with a bit of momentum. He does have some momentum. He's got the 9 behind him. That's Chris Elliott coming up through the field. The 9 was in the top 10 most of this race, and now made his way back up to the front. The leader will be DeSpirito at the line. Can they keep the momentum, though? We have seen the inside line struggle around this racetrack when it comes to momentum in the turns. Can he keep it, or is the outside line, the middle line, going to prevail? DeSpirito still with a bit of an advantage on the inside line, still with the 9 of Elliott behind him. And back you have the 22 of Greg Palmer that's going to be with them as well. So a lot of drivers on trying to make that inside line work, as the outside line's got Wesley up there with them. 17 of Shelton's going to be up there. And now you see that middle line, that outside line really starting to gain momentum as Paglia continuing to lead from the middle line. He's gotten clear, so is Ritchie. That inside line just running out of steam once the cars get up to full song, and you can't really do anything about it. There's nothing you can do to defend, and you try to defend or try to get up to the front on the inside line. Just nowhere for you to go as it just runs out of momentum. And now you see them starting to get freight train Jessica Shelton already trying to get clear of the 44 of DeSpirito. Has gotten clear. Now DeSpirito's going to jump up to the outside line as soon as he possibly can, and he has, falling all the way back from the lead into 5th place in the matter of a lap. And now You have the 9 trying to get up, trying to get the side draft off the 7-Eleven of John Godfrey. Godfrey is another one of those RTG guys who have been dominating so far this entire race. As most of these guys up front are the RTG guys, and you can see just how much experience they have with super speedways, as they have been able to figure out where to put their cars all race long. You see Chris Elliott trying to find a way to get up to the inside of the outside of the line of the racetrack. He's got this Despirito kind of warping back and forth there. Don't want to be doing too much of that. These drivers, or these cars rather, do not like it when they get warped into, and the game will sometimes interpret that as a door slam and send you off into the outside or the inside of the racetrack, and that's just bad news for everybody. And trying to find a way to mitigate that. He's stopped doing it now, but so far so good. As the inside line, Elliott, and now his partner in crime, Greg Palmer, trying to get back to the front. They're the only two on that inside line now. Is there's a whole host of cars up on that outside line. The 16 of Bernie Mobbs, one of them going around now, is Andrew Lemke in the 70, also up on that outside line. A lot of drivers on that outside line. Bob Simonera in the 712, someone we haven't mentioned all race long except for the very beginning. Simonera now finding his way back to the front of the field, trying to get that 712 some momentum. Tim Nnscra, who we thought was involved earlier on in one of our instances, but was not him, in the 088. And that silver car up on that outside line. As we've got a bit of warp coming from our defending winner, Andrew Lemke. He was the one who won the Nnscra Daytona 500 the last time that we had it, the second edition of our Nnscra Daytona 500. So he's looking to get back to victory lane, seeing if he can become the first and only repeat winner of the Daytona 500 for the Nnscra. So far doing pretty well, running in the 10th position. Slowly but surely making his way up to the front is the 70s team, and that car has been fast all race long. We saw him in practice, we saw him in qualifying. He was able to put down some fast laps. Just now he's trying to get that car back up to race pace. The draft is so important with these COT cars. When you get out of the draft, well, the draft is important with any variation of these cars, except maybe for the pre-restrictor plate versions of these machines back before the 1988 rule package deemed that restrictor plates were the cool thing to do. And you got to admit that we've gotten some really good racing out of restrictor plates since 1988. These cars are so dependent on it. No one really looking to use the two-car tandem to their advantage. We saw that with these more boxy cars, that they were able to link up and do two-car tandems, but no one seeming to really want to push that envelope. Not yet, at least. There's still a long way to go. We're working lap 29, coming into lap 30. So still a while to go for these drivers. It might be something that these drivers have in their hats to use later on, as they, when they get down to the end of the race, might try and figure out something to do. There is the 69 machine of Matt Muir running on the outside line. The outside line, like I said, is still the dominant line. Is that's Chris Elliott on the bottom, still trying to figure out a way to make that inside line work. He just has no help. There is nobody going with him. You have the 22 of Palmer still behind him. That's about all you've got in the way of the inside line. The 38 is down there. That's Rodney Sullins. He's trying to get going on the inside line as well, but again, they're not losing too much ground. They're being able to stay consistent with these guys. It's just that they're not being able to go towards the front. And there you see Elliott gets onto the apron. He's going to try and save it, and I think he does. Good save by the 9 machine. And that is what we saw happen earlier, going through 3 and 4. A little bit of aero loss gets that 9 loose and goes onto the apron. That's what's brought out 2 of our yellows so far. So good save on the part of the 9 machine, and he gets up and is going to benefit from that. He's now going to be able to get onto the outside line. So not the way you'd want to do it, I'm sure, but a way to do it is now the 9 is looking pretty well. Now he won't be falling back, in the 088 of Nnscra trying to maybe close back in, although he's running pretty well on the inside line. He hasn't really lost any ground, but I'm sure that he doesn't want to be trapped down there. He's going to want to get back up to the outside line and get back in the draft as quickly as he possibly can, and then he indeed does so through the tri-oval. So Coming to lap 32 of 80, almost to halfway in this race. And so far, these drivers now seeing that, it's a long way to go. We've had 3 yellows so far. Now we're forming a bit of a train around this racetrack, and the safest option for these drivers is a train race. And I know a lot of fans watching would disagree with that statement, but if you're a driver, train racing is one of the things that is the most consistent way to make sure that you get to the end of a race. It's a long way to go. You don't want to have your car used up at the end of this race. These cars are running realistic damage for tonight, and that's why we've seen a lot of drivers have taken shots to the outside wall. They have simply just retired from the race, not really able to do much in the way of get their car repaired in enough time. As Paglia still holding with the lead. We have a car coming to pit road. That is Sonny Tellman. I think he's actually hit the inside wall. He's teleported back to his pit stop. He might be retiring from the races, the 90. So Sonny Tellman, one of those drivers, now retiring from the races. We've gone back to the back of the field looking around, and that's a caution. So we are under yellow. There's a spin going down the back straightaway between the 10 of Norman again. There's another car spinning up front. I believe that's Luzier. The 48 of Cody Lamas is on his roof. Norman going back. Rodney Sullins. That is Luzier, I believe. Yeah, it is Ronald Luzier in the 62. Nick Gunther in the 55 also spun. The 69 is slow. We saw him running up towards the front of the field. Yellow flag out for the 4th time tonight. Paglia still your race leader. And that has changed everything that I was going to say. We had gotten into a good green flag run, and it looks like that maybe someone checked up. We'll have to go back and look and see what happened, but Paglia is going to slow down. Have to wait for the pace car to catch back up to him. So we're going to go quickly take a look and see what happened to Michael Norman and company, as Norman finds himself in yet another wreck this race. And that's something that he definitely does not want to have happen to him, as Cody Lamas found himself upside down going down the back straightaway on the infield and backing up to see what exactly put us under yellow this time around. And still looking at it, and it looks like it might have been, so it was in front of Lamas. This wreck started with, I think, Luzier. Just looking here. Oh, okay. It didn't start with Luzier. It actually started with a 7. So we're looking back here. We'll take you to a live replay. This is what happened to put us under yellow. Check out the 7 in front. That is a little checkup on his part. That's going to send Chuck McClure around, and a lot of drivers just pile in, as I think a lot of them were just trying to avoid. Luzier got involved. Look at the good hands on the 6 machine of Rodriguez. He was able to spin around and miss that, but Chuck McClure is what started that. A little bit of contact with the 69 that spun everybody around. Ronald Luzier was one of those that got around, so he's involved yet again, and this time on the receiving end of something. We're actually going to take a look and see what happened on his side of things. We're going to go on board with the back end of the 62 at this point. So, man, just so much happened, and it's almost too much to miss, as we're going to go on board with the 62. See what it was from his POV. You can see them racing. You can see McClure in front. I don't know if there was a little bobble on the part of the 7 or if he got in the car in front. I think he did. I think he just tagged the car in front, and that's what sent everybody around. Luzier was not able to get off the gas. He gets into the side of the car, and spinning down the back straightaway goes to 62 for the second time. Spinning around is the 62. The first time was on the front stretch. But now we're going to find out what happened to the 48, because the 48 went for a wild ride down the back straightaway, upside down. I'm sure that whatever it was pretty spectacular if we were able to get that kind of an incident out of him. And he has teleported to pit road, as no one was able to put him back up the right direction. Is looking to see, I think maybe he checked up, or did somebody get into him? We're looking at it at real time. What happened to the 48? I think he just lost it. He did lose it, and then he got run into by the 55 of Gunther. So Gunther was trying to avoid, and Lamas was trying to avoid. So Lamas goes for a wild ride in the 48, ends up on his roof. He had to get a tow in that 48 machine, and man, tough break for a lot of these drivers, a lot of these front runners too. This was up about mid-pack, so there was a lot of drivers that possibly could have been taken out that were running at the front of the field. As we're back to live action here, as Seth Cole stayed out again. He's gonna come down pit road, the organizer of this race and the owner of the Nnscra. So get a little bit of TV time for the 59 machine, as he's got a good showing so far running the St. Jude's machine. And Seth Cole is, I believe he was running towards the back of the pack, maybe a little bit outside middle of the pack when that incident happened. So he's going to be finding himself back on normal pit cycle with all these other drivers. But coming up to halfway very soon. Pace lights are still out on the pace car. Your leader is going to be Dante Ritchie, as I believe that our former leader pitted under that last stop. We see a lot of drivers coming out that got their damage repaired. There's Cody Baker coming out, looking to see where some of our drivers might have been. Well, there's Tim Nnscra. He definitely made a stop. You see Chris Elliott made a stop. Shelton made a stop. Godfrey made a stop. Seminara made a stop. There's Joe DeSpirito, Grant Wesley, and Dante Ritchie. Where is... I'm looking around for him. I'm trying to see where he is. Not sure. Oh, did he retire from the race? Now, there he is. So Mark Paglia finds himself way back in 12th place. Not a good stop for the 428, but he had a fast car, so we might see him try to claw his way back to the front of the field. We're still under pacing here at Daytona. We're going to do a quick commercial break. We'll be right back with the restart. You're watching the Nnscra Daytona 500 benefiting St. Jude's on the Flatout Racing Network. We'll be right back.
It's a road few dare to travel, a journey filled with danger and unpredictability. So why do we traverse this road? Why do we take such a gamble? Because if we don't try, we'll never know what we could have achieved. That's why we strap in, rev up, and fix our focus on the ultimate prize. Because the reward is well worth the risk. The 2021 Nnscra Daytona 500, Saturday, February 20th, exclusively on Flatout Racing Network.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
Welcome back to the Nnscra Daytona 500 live on the Flatout Racing Network. We're about ready to go back to green flag on lap 38 of 80. Still approaching halfway in this race. My name is Anthony McCurry. We are, like I said, about ready to come to halfway. It's been a long race. We have 4 cautions so far, but we're about ready to put these cars back underway yet again, as a pace car will make that hard left turn back onto pit road. Dante Ritchie, Grant Wesley, Joe DeSpirito, Bob Seminara, John Godfrey, and Jessica Shelton. That is your top 6. Is already some bumping from Jessica Shelton, that 17 car, up with Seminara's. We are back under green flag. Dante Ritchie selected the outside line of that restart. We've normally seen drivers start on the inside line, but now Richie was seeing if he could get anything going on that outside line, knowing that the outside line is the faster line around the track, and they're just going to leave the 8 of Wesley out to dry, but I think he's going to be able to get the lead before he gets past, and he does. He's got his way back up to the front of the field, and he's gotten in line right in front of the 84 of Richie. So move Wesley to the lead of the race, back to the lead of the race. He was trying to get the inside line working earlier in the race and was just not able to do so. This time around, he was able to get the inside line on the restart done. We've seen the inside line on the restart work about every time when we come down to a restart. So it would make sense for Wesley to be able to make up that time on the restart. So back going green, lap 39 of 80 in this race, coming up to halfway in the race. And remember, halfway point, the driver who leads the halfway point will be donating $25 to the St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and that's a good cause to donate to. And you know he's going to want to have some bragging rights, being that he led the halfway point. If he can lead the halfway point and win the race, then that's a statement win on that part. So we're coming down to 40 lap. It'll be at the end of lap 40, but so far, trail racing again. The top bit of the field doesn't look like they're too eager in getting a little racy. They're kind of slowing down a little bit, just seeing how the track feels out. As we're on lap 40 now, as Grant Wesley continues to lead the way in the 8 machine, the throwback Budweiser scheme to when Dale Jr. still ran the for DEI and drove the 8 machine. It's been a while back. It's been over 10 years at this point, almost 12, 13 years at this point. So a long time ago is when we saw this 8 machine actually leading at Daytona, still leading at Daytona, just with a different driver in the form of Grant Wesley. But Wesley coming out of turn number 3. I think we've had somebody spin up into turn 4. There's some smoke there. We'll have to go back and document that. But to the line, Grant Wesley will lead halfway in the Daytona 500. So halfway done. Still got a long way to go, though. We got another half a race to get through, and if the first half is any indication, then these drivers are going to be more antsy to get to the front than ever. So there's not been a whole lot of places to make passes. Once these guys get out front, it's more or less just get out front and see if you can hold it, and Wesley's been able to do that the best out of all these drivers so far. Well, Wesley, Richie, and looking back here, Paglia have been the 2 that have been able to do it the best. Wesley still with the lead of the race. Back at the back of the field, you've got Rodney Sullins. A lot of these drivers have been slow or have been involved in incidences earlier on. Tristan Allen has just kind of been running a steady pace, not really fast or slow, just kind of consistent, trying to hold his ground, see if he can get around and get to the front of the field in some point. And Matthew Rodriguez has been involved in one crash already. Some damage on that 6 machine, but still with a bit of a shot at winning this. There's anything that can happen in these Daytona 500 races. So Rodriguez still within drafting distance, still within a chance to get maybe a top 5 out of this. Dylan Young, we haven't talked about Dylan Young all day today, running the 2 machine, is famous number 2 that he always runs in these online events, and he is at the back of the field. I don't know if this is because he's off the pace or if this is by choice, but I would like to assume it's by choice. Is the reason Dylan Young is back here, is he is riding along in the 26th position. There is Miller running in 22nd position. As I think Dylan Young's a couple laps down. He might have gotten into the session a little late and had to get onto the racetrack, as they have Andre Miller running in 22nd. 21st was where we find Seth Cole. He was leading earlier. He led to the going down a little bit, and then he came down pit road. He led a lap. Now he's kind of fighted to the back of the pack. This is a good strategy, though. You're able to miss wrecks if you're back here. And we've seen a lot of things happen where the drivers are just too close to each other, and that dreaded inside apron where if you get 2 tires on it, then it's a fight to save your car. He's comfortably running around here in the 21st position. And then our first driver to crack the top 20 is going to be Chuck McClure in the 7. He was the one that ran into one of our drivers earlier on, or ran into rather, and he is still running around in the 20th position. Michael Norman, who has had his car facing the wrong direction twice so far tonight, still in the top 20, running 19th, still with a competitive car, might be able to pull something out of this one. Not too much damage though. He spun around and didn't hit anything earlier in the race, and then he got a little bit of contact going on the back straightaway, but other than that, the 10 car is still up to race speed. And then in front of him is going to be Jim Black in the 86, who has also seen his fair share of event tonight, and he is still running within eye shot of the leader, so still within a chance is that 86. Nick Gunther, one of those drivers that was involved in our last wreck, is running in the 16th position, trying to crack the top 15 as he's trying to go underneath the 43 of Mallon. 43 of Mallon trying to hold that 15th position. He's got the draft on the outside line, does Tyler Mallon, so he will be able to get away from of Nick Gunther as he's fallen back behind. Again, Cody Baker in the other Home Depot machine, 2 cars running identical schemes, this one being the 25, running in the 14th position outside of our leader earlier on in the race, and that would be Mark Paglia. Mark Paglia trying to get back to the front of the field, running in 13th. He's down there with Tim Nofsker. These two know each other from the RTG League, so they're trying to get back to the front after restarting the race pretty far down the order. You have Ken Roberts running up top. We have not talked about Ken Roberts at all tonight, running in the 055, trying to get around the 22 on the inside line. On the outside line, where we've seen the cars have the most advantage, it looks like he's trying to do it, but the inside line with those 3 cars are having a bit of momentum shift forward. They're hopefully trying to get that inside line work. The 43 has dropped to the inside line as well, so the inside line might be starting to form ever so slightly, but so far it looks like that Greg Palmer, the leader of that one, trying to get it going, but it just stalls out within the middle of the turns. That you get a good run going down the straights, but as soon as you get into the turn, that's where the outside line is the king. You're able to hold the momentum through the turns rather than lose it. As you'll see, gets a run, takes it to the inside of the 70. It actually has a bit of momentum in the turns, but you'll see that it starts to taper off as you get to corner exit as the double 88 or the 088 make that. Almost goes up into our defending winner, that being the 70 of Andrew Lemke, trying to go 2-4-3 in this race. He competed in the first one, didn't win that one. Shane Sides won that race, but he's trying to get this win as well as he won the second race that they had, so looking to go be the only 2-time winner of the Nnscra Daytona 500. And right now he's running in 11th, but that inside line has actually found some ground. Is now, I'm going the wrong way. It looks like that Greg Palmer has been able to make that run work, as now he's actually trying to get up towards the front. He's actually making some pretty good ground. He's gone under Chris Elliott in the 9. He's now going underneath John Godfrey in the 711, I should say, 711. A long ways until you get to 6th place Bernie Mobbs in the 16 machine. So that's where all the side-by-side racing ends. And that's where all the single file racing begins, as everyone up front trying to hold their lines. But that inside line is starting to work, as you can see Palmer coming up through the inside line. Jessica Shelton running in the 5th place position, cracking the top 5. The 17 machine, not used to seeing her drive the 17, but in the 17 for this race, if I can English properly, is running very well, having a fast car throughout all of practice. And when we saw our qualifying a week ago, she was one of the faster ones, is being able to get around this track. She's always been fast around the super speedways, as these front 5 are starting to get a little dicey, as Bob Seminara now ducks to the inside. Oh, there's a car off. I believe that. Don't tell me that's Louisier again. I don't think it is. No, it's going to be Jim Gold who gets squirrely coming out of the tri-oval. So he does save that car, though, and he has gotten back going. So we're still under green flag, racing side by side on lap 50. Dante Ritchie still with the lead of the race. Dante Ritchie's taking the lead of the race away from Grant Wesley, as Wesley on the outside trying to get anything going. They're 2 by 2 all the way back to about 21st position. Now they're noting that their laps are running out. It's time to get a little bit of a little racy, trying to get towards the front of the field. Inside line still not as good as the outside line on the long run. The outside line has been able to just dominate any charge that the inside line has ever been able to pull at it. But still, racing well is the outside line. The inside line, I should say, is Dante Ritchie still trying to get it going with Seminara behind him. Joe DeSpirito in the 44 on the outside line, trying to push Wesley to the lead again. As you can see, all the way back to Seth Cole, they're side by side. Top 23 make that our side by side as Wesley pulls ahead yet again as we keep racing around. Now, lap 52 is what we're coming up to. Now, we still got a long way to go. Once we get to lap 60, it'll 61 make that. It'll be 20 laps to go. And then you'll start seeing these drivers get a little bit more racy than they are. We haven't gone 3 wide yet. Wholesale, we haven't gone 3 wide. We've seen a few drivers go 3 wide, but not really be able to hold it. It was only for a couple seconds. We haven't been able to see what 3 wide racing around the track consistently looks like, but that could be a thing that happens later on in the race when these drivers know that it's go time. They need to get to the front and get to it quick, as all your alliances go out the window when that happens. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see some wrecked race cars at the end of this race, but Wesley continues to lead the way as to the inside. Richie still trying with an advantage, though. He is getting ground. It's not like he isn't getting ground. It's just he loses it coming out of turn 4. Can he get the run down to the line is the question. If that inside line has any bit of momentum that they can get to the inside and maybe take the win on the last lap, then they might be able to do that. But so far, Wesley's still leading the way. Richie still playing bridesmaid. As now, everyone's still minding their P's and Q's, though. Not anyone wanting to really force the issue. Now, green flag stops, if they keep running like this, they will have to happen at some point. Now, I believe that they're going to happen sooner rather than later. Maybe we'll get to lap 65 before these drivers have to come down pit road, as they're about ready to pass a lap machine. That is Jim Gold, who was spinning around earlier. He's gone to the extreme outside to let this lead group of cars go by, and he's actually gotten a bit of the wall. And there's a car in front spinning around, and there they go. Chuck McClure, the 33, the 59 of Cole is involved. The 86 again is involved. And this is Michael Norman's involved yet again, and this is a result of everyone trying to avoid the lap machine. Mallon is involved. Cole Baker involved. Jim Gold gets out of that. Ken Roberts, I think, was ahead of this or just got through this when it happened, but Baker with a lot of damage on the back end of that machine. McClure again finds himself involved in a wreck. Seth Cole gets involved in this one, and that was, I think, everyone just checking up to avoid the slow car of Goldman. Or Gold, I should say. Gloud. I'll get it right eventually. Gloud, Jim Gloud. But man, tough break for a lot of these runners that were about at the end of that lead pack, as Wesley is going to cross the line first. So we're going to take a look and see what happened here. I think we already have an idea of what happened, but let's go back and look at it in slow-mo this time. This happened very quick. It was a very quick crash that we saw happen going down the back straight, or coming out of turn 3, as a lot of drivers were avoiding it. McClure, one of those drivers. I think it was just a checkup from these drivers. They really didn't have anywhere to go. I think they were avoiding, they were avoiding the lap down. I think they were more or less reacting to the fact that Gloud had hit the outside retaining wall, and then they all just kind of pinged off of each other. But now we're looking at it in slow-mo. We saw it happen in real time. This is Chuck McClure that we're focused on, but you can see out there Gloud bouncing off the outside wall, bounced off it once, bounced off twice, and that's got a lot of these drivers on the inside kind of nervous. Actually, forward, if we look there, the 43 of Mallon got the apron again. We've seen a lot of drivers throughout turn 3 get that apron, and he was the first one that triggered this. This might not have been a checkup. This was just Mallon hitting the inside of the apron, and then you see the 25 get shot up. That's Cole Baker. He gets shot up. Everyone starts checking up. The 7 of McClure, the 10 of Norman, Seth Cole trying to get on the brakes, but then gets tagged by the spinning 10 as he gets shunted to the inside of the racetrack. And then the 56 comes in and sideswipes him. That's how the 59 got involved. spinning all the way down into the beginning of the trial, or the beginning of the straight to the trial. Well, Jim Black again finds himself around. So a lot of these drivers have been involved in crashes earlier, now finding themselves again involved in something. So tough break for a lot of these drivers to get involved multiple times. And Seth Cole, this is the first time he was involved in one of these wrecks. But running at the back, I said it earlier, running at the back can sometimes make things better and sometimes make things safer. But obviously, we saw here it was not the case. It can happen anywhere on the track. And this has been the biggest crash we've had so far in the race. Not quite the big one, but definitely close to it. As we will go back to live action and see where our drivers are running at on the racetrack as the pace lights are still on. And Jim Glaude is right now in front of the leaders. The leader, well, there's Seth Cole. He's trying to go around and get one of his laps back. There's a lot of drivers. There's the leader, that would be Seminara, who will be the leader of the race on a net gain. So a lot of these drivers are now going to come down pit road, get their damage repaired, hopefully get back going again. I don't know if some of these drivers are going to be able to keep going. I think that Michael Norman has retired from the race as a result of that. I'm not sure if Cole Baker retired or not. And I take back what I said. I think that the 47 is going to be the leader momentarily. That is definitely going to be the case. So Andrew Miller is going to be our interim leader at the moment. We saw him earlier on in the race, or he was leading, and I think that he's going to come down the next time around and pit. But so far, Miller is leading. Seminara going to be in second place. Dante Ritchie, Joe DeSpirito, and Grant Wesley. That is your top five. We're going to go to a quick commercial break. Don't go anywhere. The action will not stop. We're going to go live with our FRN side-by-side. You're watching the Nnscra Daytona 500 benefiting St. Jude on the Flatout Racing Network.
It's a road few dare to travel, a journey filled with danger and unpredictability. So why do we traverse this road? Why do we take such a gamble? Because if we don't try, we'll never know what we could have achieved. That's why we strap in, rev up, and fix our focus on the ultimate prize. Because the reward is well worth the risk. The 2021 Nnscra Daytona 500, Saturday, February 20th, exclusively on Flatout Racing Network.
ETE Reman is the world's best remanufacturer of transmissions for import and domestic cars and trucks. Based in Milwaukee, Wisconsin, our customers are repair shops, auto parts stores, dealerships, and distributors. And with 6 nationwide warehouses, we're where and when you need us. So when you're looking for a transmission that is like new, only better, instill confidence and install ETE Reman.
It's a road few dare to travel, a journey filled with danger and unpredictability. So why do we traverse this road? Why do we take such a gamble? Because if we don't try, we'll never know what we could have achieved. That's why we strap in, rev up, and fix our focus on the ultimate prize. Because the reward is well worth the risk. The 2021 Nnscra Daytona 500.
Welcome back to the Nnscra Daytona 500, the third annual Nnscra Daytona 500, benefiting St. Jude's. We're about ready to go back to green flag racing on lap 58 of 80. I'm now joined in the booth by someone that was involved in that wreck. He's now come up to the booth to help me get through the rest of this race. That would be Michael Norman, driver of the 10 machine. He's now back in the booth with me. Michael, I want to get a driver's perspective. First off, I'm glad you're okay. Second off, how was that wreck from your perspective? That had to be a bit of a unfortunate wreck, as I think they were coming up on green flag pit stops.
Yeah, we were approaching green flag pit stops there. We were roughly about three to four laps away, and just unfortunate with Malin getting on the apron there. But it's stuff like that happens. Just a last minute thing that you can't, you don't even think is going to happen, and it does. But unfortunately, here we are up in the booth. But I'm happy to be up here at least, so at least I'll be able to see the action and who's going to win this race.
Indeed so, and we like to welcome all of you. If you're just tuning in, we're working lap 58. We've just gotten done through another one of our yellow periods. I believe that was our 5th caution of the evening. So back to green flag racing with Bob Simonera on the inside line, still trying to hold tight, still trying to get any bit of advantage he can on that inside line. That inside line has not been able to really hold its own. We did see it start to come in after that long green flag run, and I want to get a driver's input, Michael. Does the inside line come in better at the end of a long green flag run? Because it seemed like for sure that was the case as we were watching them go around the track. It seems to fade away, but then all of a sudden it comes up and it starts to work, but not quite as well as the outside line.
Oh no, there's more grip in the middle lane, in the middle to outside lane, than there is on the inside lane. There's the way the track is made, and a lot of people are kind of afraid of the apron too, so that's why you kind of see more people running the outside lane. If you just clip that apron, as you've been seeing, it's been disastrous. So that's why you don't see a lot of people down there. But yeah, the middle lane has more grip, as most of you guys have seen from RTG for when you guys watch the Rolling Thunder series. It's just this is their track, so it's mostly gripped up more in the middle lanes to try to make for a 2 to 3 line pack here. So these guys are being awfully tame from what we're used to seeing. So it is still pretty early. They're approaching 21 laps to go this time by. So no, and I can tell you one thing for sure is we are going to see at least one more pit stop before the end of this race.
So some spiciness coming in at the end of this race. So having to figure out who your friends are at the end of this one is 21 laps to go, and this has been a pretty clean race, all things considered. We have seen quite a few crashes, but albeit those have been due to mostly the inside of the racetrack, that apron that we've been talking about pretty much all day long, as it's claimed a number of drivers this race, and it claimed more just on our last caution. You see the outside line still. Wesley on the outside line. Dante Ritchie continuing to try and get the advantage against the 22, who now finds himself running in the 2nd place position. Greg Palmer was running quite a ways back, actually, when that yellow flag came out, but now finds himself up here in the 3rd place position as they cross the start-finish straight. We have quite a few drivers to document as out of the race. We have gotten the updated list, and it's quite extensive. It goes all the way back to 24th, I believe, is where we see our last driver that is out of the race. 24th starts Cole Baker. He's out of the race. Michael Norman, Rodney Solons, Matt Muir. Those drivers have gone out fairly recently. Then you have Ron Luzier, Cody Lamas, Sonny Tellman, Rob Evans, Cole Deaver, Zach Buchanan, and RJ Bishop. RJ Bishop was the first one to retire from the race. More than 51 laps to go, make that 52 when they cross the stripe. So the fresh drivers that have been claimed out of this one are going to be Cole Baker and Michael Norman. And again, we started with 34 drivers. We've now dwindled it down to 22 of the best, as I think that Tyler Mallon, I don't know if he's maybe just taking the car behind the wall or if he's on pit road. Let's go take a look and see. I know that Chuck McClure is running slowly. There's Gloud. There's Gunther. I think that
Mallon's out. Mallon has went behind the wall.
All right, so Tyler Mallon has been a most recent retiree, so that brings our total down to 21 drivers running on the racetrack, which still more than half of our drivers running, and a lot of them are still damaged. As you can see, a lot of them running back here. Chuck McClure has been involved in a couple of crashes so far tonight. He is down in the 21st position. Nick Gunther has also been involved in his share of wrecks as well. He's down in 20th. Jim Gloud, Matthew Rodriguez, Seth Cole, and Jim Black have lost the draft. They're running a 16th on back, and then you have Andrew Miller and Mark Paglia, which I don't know why Paglia is so far back unless it was a choice by Paglia. He's still with the draft, and that is where our draft begins, or rather ends for some of these drivers, as Tristan Allen and Dylan Young are clinging on to the pack. Dylan Young is a lap down and on the apron, and he saves it. Holy cow, what a save by the 2 machine. Thankfully, no one was around him. He did check up and come back on the racetrack, but he was able to save that machine, and he continues on. But that apron almost claiming another driver, and that would have brought out another apron-related incident. There's been a lot of them happen so far, Michael.
Yeah, there has been a lot, and it's just real crazy. As you see, we have a whole group of cars lagging back here. Seth Cole, Matthew Rodriguez, Jim Gloud, and Jim Black back here. Just kind of all staying off this main pack because they know there's going to be another wreck. Not only that, but there's also most likely going to be another pit stop. Now, I know some of these drivers know how to save fuel out of super speedway. The question is, can they save enough if this race goes green to the end to even make it all the way?
That's a good question. And a lot of drivers will be calculating that in their heads throughout the rest of the race, trying to figure out what they can do to maybe make it to the end of the race. I know for a fact one of them, if I were to wager, would probably be the 59. We've seen in multiple series where Seth Cole has been able to try and save as much fuel as he possibly can to make it to the end of a race, and just being able to win a couple races that I've been racing with him where he's won just on outright fuel saving, not really outright pace. So you have to come down pit road. That's 40 to 45 seconds that you're spending on pit road, maybe sometimes as much as 50 seconds depending on your pit in and pit out. So that's a lot of time to try and make up on the racetrack. And if you can save that much time on fuel, or you can save that much fuel to make it to the end of the race, then that's a lot of distance that those drivers that have to make a stop will have to make up. So we'll have to see if he can do that. I know that a few of these leaders also, some of these RTG guys, they know how to save fuel around super speedways. Dante Ritchie, not really in the best position to do that right now as he's out front on the inside line. We've been talking about that inside line is now starting to form. Greg Palmer to the lead of the race. These two leaders, though, they are not in any position to make any bid to fuel save, as they have to lead the pack and break the win for everyone else behind them.
Yeah, absolutely. Worst place to be is leading, and that might not sound like, it might be like, what? No, the worst place to be when in terms of a fuel race like at a super speedway is first place, because as you said, there's no way or no chance to even save fuel without drafting anybody.
Yeah, unless you're getting a big shot behind, and even then you're running your revs higher if you're getting a shot behind, and the guy behind you doesn't want to be doing that either because he's wasting gas pushing you. So it's really a lose-lose situation for anybody leading and anyone being involved with pushing the guy in front. But some of these drivers a little bit further back, that's the wrong button. If
you look back here, Matthew Rodriguez and Seth Cole are back here, and I know what they're doing. They are saving gas back here, trying to make it all the way to the end. So they're just hoping, one, not to get lapped, and two, that another caution does not come out. But being all the way back there is not going to be a good thing, because they'll get lapped pretty quickly.
Yeah, they're running significantly slower than some of our front runners. Seth Cole running about 165 miles per hour, and back here, you got Nick Gunther that's running them down. He was a lap down. Here's our leaders now coming through the tri-oval now. So still about half a lap that separates Seth Cole, Matthew Rodriguez from the lead group, but this lead group is chugging along at 190 or so. So there's a lot of space between them that they're going to make up. Now, if they can make this work, they are going to go lap down. That's almost a given in the amount of time that we have left. However, to your point, Michael, if they can make this work, we were talking about it earlier where we've seen that they've done it before. Seth Cole has done this before. We've seen it happen a couple of times. I think you were involved in one of those times that they were trying to make it work. But we've seen them do it. It's incredibly hard to save that much fuel, and you have to be going that slow.
Yeah, these guys are going to catch them in a hurry.
Indeed.
You got a 40 mile per hour difference in speed roughly between 190 to 150 or whatever these guys are running back here. So while Nick Gunther's all by himself going into turn 3 and the main pack's just hitting the back straightaway, Seth Cole and Matthew Rodriguez back here going about 145 and slower are just now exiting turn 4.
Yeah, you can see this main pack just chugging along. They're actually about ready to catch them as And Nick Gunther just came out of turn 4. This main pack coming through turn 4 and now coming out of turn 4 now. So they are on the same straightaway. It's going to be in a matter of only a few minutes, maybe even a few less than 5 or less than 3 minutes before we see these drivers catch up to them. Now we're coming down to 11 laps to go. This is getting the crunch time for these leaders, though. If they do have to pit, and I'm sure that they do, when do you pit? Do you decide to pit early, bring only a few of your closest friends with you, and then get out and track and hope to push each other to the finish? Or do you stay out as long as you can, try to ride it out, see if you can maybe get some drafting help and maybe coast your way to the finish line? That's a couple things that these drivers have to consider because we're coming down to 10 laps to go. There's not a whole lot of time left.
Yeah, see, now that's the strategy. If Seth and Matthew Rodriguez can make this strategy work without a caution, those guys could be a lap ahead of the rest of this field when they come down pit road. And yeah, while they might get lapped here, and these cars might come out right behind them, that's going to take a whole lap, or you got to make up a whole lap here, even with a big pack. Oh, Nick Gunther on the apron, can he save it?
He's trying. I think he did, but just as he was on the apron trying to avoid the oncoming lead pack, as now they're going to go by Seth Cole and Matthew Rodriguez. Look at the speed difference between these drivers, and that's by design. Those cars are damaged, but more or less that's by design. They're trying to make this fuel strategy work, and this is all barring if there's going to be a caution come out. The way that this lead pack is starting to get racy, they're starting to ding off of doors. We saw earlier on the race that Dante Ritchie and I believe it was the 712 of Bob Seminara, they got a little bit of contact going down the back straightaway. They were bumping doors, rubbing wheels. So these drivers, they're going to get racy. If they know that they have a shot to win this race, if they can get on a pit road, if they do have to get on a pit road, they know that they have a shot to make this race win, and they're going to start racing much harder for it.
Something's happened to Matthew Rodriguez. He has spun off of turn number 4. So that's going to separate him and Seth Cole. So Seth might be all by his lonesome, and that's not, I don't think, what these drivers had in mind.
Not at all. I think that he might have gotten the apron on that exchange. Now, Seth Cole has joined this lead pack of cars, and now here they come. Pit stops have happened, and that is going to be Mark Paglia and Tim Nnscra. We've seen Paglia and Nnscra be at the front of the field quite a bit. They are coming down pit road relatively early compared to the rest of the field.
This field just got single file. They must be coming down pit road this time.
So this is it. This is the money stop for a lot of these drivers. Did Seth Cole save enough fuel? Only time will tell. But if they're coming down this early, indication is probably not. Is Nnscra and Paglia are going to be coming out very soon. That they short pitted. They knew that if they can come down and get a couple of them to come down and have a clean pit road, they were able to get out and possibly tag team together to bypass this field as they're going to come down in droves. Here they come. Palmer going to lead them down, and a few drivers stay up. The 44 has gone up into the outside wall and has gotten tagged by the 9 of Chris Elliott, and that's going to bring out a caution coming down to the pit stops, and that is what everyone was afraid of.
Yep, not only that, we'll see if these cars drive through pit road or if they take their service. It looks like they are driving through pit road, not taking any service, but that just threw the pit strategy that Seth Cole had completely out the window, and that might trap him one lap down, but he might be lucky enough to get the lucky dog. So now he's going to have to travel his way through the pack for this caution because there's not going to be very many laps left.
Seth Cole was the first car a lap down. There is all that remains of the 9 of Chris Elliott trying to get around back to the start-finish straight. That car smoking. His day is undoubtedly done in the 9 Cheetos machine. This is what happens when drivers get ready, and that's why you saw Nnscra and Paglia come down pit road early. They could sense that something like that was going to happen. They're veterans at super speedways. Short pitting definitely paid off for those two drivers. Chris Elliott, not so much. There's Bernie Momsey. I think he was one of those drivers that had to drive through the pit road. Bob Seminara along with him. A lot of these drivers lucky enough to avoid, but unlucky enough to have it happen during the pit stop cycle. There's Joe DeSpirito, the 44, who was a front runner all night long. Ends up T-boning the 9, and that.
I think Seth Cole had, I mean, I know you're going through a replay right now, but I think Seth Cole flat spotted a tire trying to avoid that wreck. and with him being a lap down, cannot pit this time. So, in a way, this is a lucky break for Seth. He'll get the lucky dog, be able to come down pit road for his pit stop, and then, cycle back to the tail end. And we're just gonna have to wait and see how much this is, because this is going to be chaos. Remember, cautions are on. So if a caution comes out on after this restart, the race will end under yellow flag.
Yeah, there are no chances for these drivers to have a green-white checkered. So we are running to 80 laps, and that's it. And that's going to be in the back of these drivers' minds throughout the rest of these races. You're right. I believe that Seth Cole is got a flat tire on the left front. So that's bad news bears for the 59, but we're going to go back and look at what happened to the 9, the 44, and I believe the 55 was another driver that had gotten involved. And it was coming down the pit road. It was what had happened is actually up front with the 44 first. What was we're going to go into slow-mo for this replay. There's a lot to unpack in this one. So what you've got here is you've got Joe DeSpirito. He was trying to get to pit road, but I think he thought something else and was trying to get back on the racetrack, and he just got clipped by the 16, and man, gets T-boned by the 9 of Chris Elliott, and the 55 also got clipped up into the outside wall trying to avoid it, and then bam, slams the outside wall trying to avoid this one, and he is going to have an ruptured engine. That's Ken Roberts, who has been probably the most quiet driver all race long. We haven't said his name except for once this race, and we find him spinning down the tri-oval in that 55 Aaron's machine, AC Delco machine, it looks like. And man, just sometimes bad luck strikes. Chris Elliott, one of those drivers, couldn't get slowed down in enough time, and back here looking for him, there's the 44 of DeSpirito. Heavy damage on the front end of the 44, and that's going to put him in an extremely disadvantaged, knowing that he's probably going to have to retire from this race. And Michael, you've been in this situation all too often. I mean, what can you do as a driver? Is there anything you can do as a driver?
I mean, you just got to ride it out. It's a Daytona Talladega thing. You're just right place, wrong time, unfortunately. So not really much you can do about it.
Not much at all, as we were looking there. And as one of the drivers that did go down is Bob Seminary. He did make it onto pit road, and you can see all the chaos happening just off screen. And man, it's just not a whole lot you can do. Not a whole lot that you can save. And unfortunately, that's how Daytona works. That we've seen this time in and time out, that Daytona will claim you if you're not careful. And we saw it happen in droves today, as we're going to ride on board with the 9 of Elliott, who came in and absolutely flattened the side of the 44. And actually, we're going to ride on board with the 55, as he was one of those drivers. I'm sorry, the 055 was what we're going to ride on board with, as he was one of those drivers that was trying his hardest to have a clean race. Ken Roberts was, and just too little too late, was able to not quite get his car in a position he needed to be. Here comes Roberts through onto the straightaway. See all the chaos happening in front, just gets clipped by the 9 and sails up into the outside wall, and that's going to be his day done. He would have been in a pretty good position had he avoided all that, though.
Yeah, and he looked pretty good too. So it's just unfortunate set of circumstances, just trying to come down pit road for a pit stop.
And he has retired from the race, unfortunately, so we're not going to be seeing him at the end of this one. Nick Gunther is a lap down, I believe. He is at the front of the field.
I think he's either a lap down or he's on the tail end of the lead lap. He could be a wave around.
He is a wave around. There goes Seth Cole as well. I think he's gotten that car repaired. I think he's the lucky dog recipient, so he gets to go around with Nick Gunther. We are coming down to lap 78 of 80. It is crunch time for
3
these
laps
drivers.
to go.
Wow, it's been a quick race, Michael. This race started only a short time ago, and now it's already almost done. 3 laps. Do you think what can these drivers do in 3 laps? We've seen that these guys up front, Paglia, he fell to the back of the pack pretty early on and was able to get back to the front of the field. He's now going to be restarting, and I believe this first place position is he and Tim Nnscra were the only two to come down in short pit before the rest of the field. So they are put in a pretty good position in order to get this win. Dante Ritchie, Bob Simonera, that's going to be your top four. And then back behind them, you've got a bunch of drivers looking for that win. You've got John Godfrey, Tristan Allen, Grant Wesley, Andrew Miller, Jessica Shelton, and Jim Glaude is in 10th place. That is something I don't think I would have said a few laps ago, as he was way behind all these guys, but he is now running in the 10th place position after all the hardships he's had. So, Michael, I don't want to do the commentator's curse, but who you got winning this race? We got 3 laps left. Do they make it back to the green flag?
I definitely hope they make it to the to at least to the white flag before wrecking. And if I got my eyes set on the duo of Grant Wesley and Jessica Shelton. Those two work well together in super speedways. Grant's not no stranger to an RTG track victory lane, especially at a super speedway. So look for those two if they can get some good momentum going, because while the outside lane is the preferred lane, those two know really how to get around this racetrack.
We'll have to find out in 3 laps time, and I meant to say get back to the checkered, but my brain is scrambled right now. We're getting ready to set them back. 3 laps to go here at Daytona. Paglia leads us down, and he gets a really good jump away from the 84 of Ritchie. He's going to pull away, and there they go! The 84 of Ritchie spins, Nnscra spins, everyone spins behind them. They're flipping in the air back there, and Paglia is the only one to get away at the leaders. Andrew Miller's going to be in 2nd place, and Wesley's going to be in 3rd. Can they get back to the line? Can Paglia get back to the line? This is for the win of the race. This is for everything.
47's got a draft. They've got a draft. Jessica Shelton and the 8 definitely got through. The 47's got to draft. He's got to get to his back bumper. Being alone like that is not a good thing. Can Miller get a good enough run off the corner?
We're going to find out. Paglia tries to hold on to this lead. Here comes Miller. He's got to run. I don't think he's close enough to make the move. Paglia,
no, he's not.
To the line. Mark Paglia is going to take the caution. And if he can get around for 2 more laps, he's going to win the 2021 Nnscra Daytona 500. Wow. On the restart, these drivers got into each other, and that's the first time that we've seen anything like that happen on the restart this race.
Trying to see what happened here. It might have been some aggressive bump drafting gone wrong. Yep, right there. He did. I think it was the 712 just turned the 088.
And that was coming just after the tri-oval. So these drivers, knowing that it was crunch time, they only had a few laps to go. They had to be aggressive. But it looks like they were just too aggressive. As we're trying to find a good camera angle of what happened here. We're going to slow it down for you guys. But man, just heartbreaking for these drivers. This isn't slow motion. Coming off of the restart, Dante Ritchie. Oh, it looks like on the outside line, Nnscra got clipped and got shot into Ritchie. That's what happened there. That was Bob Simonera that got into Nnscra, and then Nnscra comes back up the racetrack after the 27 got in the back of him, and it just chaos ensued after that. Everyone spinning into it. There's no chance to avoid it. This is in slow-mo. It's easy to say that they could have avoided things in slow-mo, but man, look at Bob Simonera. That car got demon dragged up all the way up in the air. Took 3 cars with him.
Makes you wonder if the 088 maybe missed a shift or something, just how immediate he got turned.
Wow. Dylan Young was involved. The 9 was still running somehow. He was involved in that. Look at the 711 so far up in the air and just comes slamming down. John Godfrey went for one heck of a ride after that one, but man, that was intense, and that is going to seal the deal for these drivers, as coming around is going to be our leaders to take the checkered flag. We're on the final lap. This is all they have to do. They have to ride around. Mark Paglia does, and he's got this win for the Nnscra Daytona 500, the 2021 Nnscra Daytona 500. And Michael, this has been one whale of a race.
Yeah, it really has. One whale of a race for sure. It's from being a part of it in general. It's just is absolutely fun. Sometimes, I myself was having a bit of controller issues. That's why a lot of the times you'd see me kind of just slow down randomly under caution. But this race has been just absolutely incredible. And congratulations to Mark Paglia, who's going to be taking the checkered flag here under caution.
Coming to the line, caution flag and checkered flag in the air of the flagman. Mark Paglia gets it done after going to the back of the pack and back to the front. The 428 wins the Daytona 500 for the Nnscra. That is amazing. He was able to do it on speed. He got back to the front of the field, and what a showing for the 428 team. And they will be their name will be thrown in and donated $25 to St. Jude. So even better for that 428 team. And Andrew Miller is going to finish the day in the second place position. He was one of those drivers I didn't expect to see up at the front of the field after the hardship he had earlier on in the race. And Grant Wesley will be rounding out the top three. Your top four back, or your top five back, is going to be Shelton. And Andrew Lemke, who is the defending winner of this race, is going to get a top five. So a good showing for the defending winner of the Nnscra Daytona 500. But still, great showing from all those drivers. Paglia doing his parade lap, all the drivers on the back straightaway, prattling around and getting the energy out of their systems. And man, 80 laps of intense racing, and Paglia stands on top of the podium today.
Absolutely. All right, Anthony, I'm going to leave you to ask the questions for the drivers when they get up there. So I just wanted to come up here to be with you for the end of this race, and just let you know you've done an incredible job on commentary tonight.
Well, thank you, Michael, and you did a great job racing tonight. We want to thank you for coming up in the booth for a short time and putting your voice in for the end of the race.
Absolutely.
As Mark Paglia comes to the start-finish straight, putting some 11s down on the racetrack, he's going to burn it down for the fans here tonight. The 428 team came in, and I honestly, he was one of the fastest cars on the racetrack, but when he went to the back of the pack, I didn't quite know if he was going to be able to make his way back up. But through cautions, through time strategies, through fast pit stops, he was able to get back to the front of the field and burn it down for the fans here tonight. Fantastic job on the part of the 428, being able to get the job done tonight. 80 laps have gone by. Your full field rundown is scrolling at the top of the screen, and it's just incredible. We've had, I think, 7 cautions total tonight. This one coming very late. This one ending the race. Unfortunately, you don't want to see that happen. And I'm sure these drivers wanted to race it back down to the stripe under green. But a caution flag did come out on that restart, unfortunately. And that was what set us up for a parade laps around to the finish line. But fantastic race nonetheless on the part of the 428 team, and I don't know if we can congratulate him enough. A lot of these drivers back down through this field did a great job as well. You know, you think about Grant Wesley, who led a lot of this race, Andrew Miller, who was in the right place at the right time, Jessica Shelton, who was the front runner, and Andrew Lemke, who wasn't really at the front of the field that much. He came up and won this race, and just fantastic showing from all of our top 5 throughout this race. And I'm sure the story is going to be how treacherous that inside line was and how bad that apron grip is, and knowing that if you tag it, then your day is almost over. But burning it down for the fans tonight. Amazing run. Spectacular on the part of the 428 team. Is I don't know how many times that I can say it. It's just something special when you're able to pull something off as much as coming up through the back of the pack and coming back to win the races. And a lot of those drivers at the end of that race got demon dragged up to the top of the race. There was some air on the part of Bob Seminary. He went flying, and we'll get some replays of what happened on the last lap of the race, or the last green flag lap of the races. Paglia takes some parade laps. We're not really getting, no one has really gotten to the waiting room yet, so we're waiting on interviews. But as soon as we get them, we will interview our top three. Is waiting on Wesley, Miller, and Paglia. Paglia still on the racetrack making his parade lap. It's got to be a good feeling. This event doesn't happen very often at all, and when it does come around, it's something special for these drivers, especially for drivers who normally race in super speedway racing. They're so used to it that sometimes it kind of gets mundane, but these drivers, when a special event comes around, they know how to make the best of it and the most of it. Paglia was one of those that were able to make the most of it today. These COT cars did fantastic tonight. So much action out of these cars. Always fun to watch these old 2007, 2008 era cars go around the track, and then it's a special part of NASCAR for me, specifically watching these types of cars go around the track. As that was more or less when I was starting to get into NASCAR. So always fun to watch some cars that I remember from when I was little watching go around the track, and just a fantastic showing by all these drivers. Your full field rundown. I'll give you a full field rundown while we're waiting for these drivers. Is Mark Paglia, Andrew Miller, Grant Wesley, Jessica Shelton, Andrew Lemke. That is your top five. Then you go to Jim Black, who has been involved in quite a few incidences tonight. Finishes in the 6th place position. Fantastic race. A fantastic sense of luck that Jim Black was able to get. That crash really helped him out trying to get back to the front. So he gets a top 6. Seth Cole gets a 7th place out of all that. So good showing for the 86 getting up towards the front. I'm sorry, the 59 getting up towards the front. Bernie Mobbs, Dante Ritchie, who crossed the line in 9th. And Tristan Allen's going to make the top 10. Jim Glaude ended up getting 11th out of that. And then the last driver to finish on the lead lap was Nick Gunther. Everyone else retired from the race except for Matthew Rodriguez, who finishes 13th out of this race. Fantastic comeback for that machine. And we're going to quickly go over and see if we can get ourselves some interviews. I'm looking down through here and seeing if we can get some of them. I'm looking for our 3rd place finisher, Grant Wesley. Let's pull Wesley up the booth. There's Michael Norman. He's come back.
I was about to come up here to tell you to just go ahead and pull him.
All right. I didn't know if they were going to come into the waiting room or not, but we're going to pull Grant Wesley into the booth. He is our winner our 3rd place finisher tonight, Grant Wesley. Let's get him in. I don't have pull powers. Interesting. Well, this is a conundrum. We're going to try and get him in. There he is. Grant Wesley, it's Anthony in the Flatout Racing Network studios. You got me.
Hey, Anthony.
Well, you found yourself in a pretty interesting predicament. I don't think anyone really expected that incident to happen at the restart. What was it like seeing it from your point of view, as it was kind of happening in front of you?
Yeah, that was kind of a lucky break on my behalf because I was coming down pit road as that last caution came out, and I hadn't cleared the commitment line, so I couldn't take service. So, we kept the Budweiser Chevy up front all day, and then we ended up losing a lot of positions there and restarted 10th. So, as we came to that restart, I'm not exactly sure what happened. It looked like the 712 Bob Seminara was pushing 088, and I don't know what happened, but next thing I seen was 088 was sideways, and they were crashing in front of me. These cars take a long time to get up to full song, and I had to just crack the throttle there. And Mark, he was out front, and he just kept it matted, and he was able to gap us and pick up that win. Good job for Mark. But we got really lucky there at the end.
Yeah, I saw it happen, and a lot of drivers went flying through the air. I'm sure that wasn't a particularly comforting sight to see, as I believe NR 2003 decided to launch them up towards the top of the grandstands. But the talk of the town tonight was the inside line, and the fact that it could work, but it took a lot of effort. And if you got too low on the inside line, then that apron was claiming a lot of cars tonight. How scary was it to run around the inside line, and was it more comfortable and faster to run the middle line?
Yeah, so I think it was like lap 2 or 3. I was up front and I barely clipped that apron on the exit at the tri-oval, and it started to walk the car a little sideways. Not too bad, but yeah, that was definitely enough for me to know that you had to stay away from that yellow line. It was treacherous. That bottom lane, I feel like, could be racy if you had enough cars down there. The middle lane was definitely stronger, though. That was definitely the preferred place to be.
Well, I could certainly tell that you were one of the drivers that was trying to get it to work, and it did come in at the end. Now, racing side by side had to be fun all race long, and I'm sure that this was probably you're used to this kind of track, if I'm not mistaken. The super speedways for the RTG guys seem to be the tracks that you guys race on a lot. So, did you feel right at home in this racetrack? As I know that you guys go to this track quite a bit, or was it interesting having to race with a few new faces in the field?
I really enjoyed this event. Yeah, it's awesome just to kind of create a mixing pot of different guys from different leagues. Yeah, I really enjoyed that aspect of it. But yeah, at RTG, we run the Tally Challenge every Thursday, and we've been doing that for years. And so yeah, we're all pretty used to the super speedway stuff, and it also helped that I was kind of able to keep myself surrounded by the guys that I'm used to racing around, so I kind of knew what to expect out of them.
Well, I want to congratulate you on a third place finish after the craziness that happened on lap 78. Congratulations, and we look forward to seeing you again. Before we let you go, we're going to let you do any shout outs.
Yeah, I'd like to thank Seth Cole first and foremost for putting this event together and inviting all of us to come out. Like I said, it was a blast. Uh, I look I look forward to maybe doing this again sometime. I'd like to thank you guys for doing the broadcast. Like to thank all my buddies from Rolling Thunder Gaming and my friends and family that's watching, my girlfriend Brittany, and my teammates at XFM.
Well, that was Grant Wesley, driver of the 8 machine tonight. Congratulations again on your third place finish, and we hope to see you next time.
All right, thanks.
And now we're going to get our second place finisher. That would be Andrew Miller. He finishes in the second place position tonight. We'll get him in the booth. Hey, Andrew, it is Anthony in the Flatout Racing Network studio. You got me.
Yeah, I got you.
Well, that was a crazy finish. Coming down to take green flag on lap 78, it looked like everyone was going to mind their P's and Q's, and then something happened and someone got punted, and all of a sudden chaos was happening. What did it look like from your point of view as it was kind of happening right in front?
Well, I was already anxious beyond words to try and keep it in one piece, but I saw them go sideways in front of me. It's like, okay, let's just go high and pray to whatever God you pray to, and lo and behold, was able to get through that. And I mean, that's all it takes on super speedway racing. Just one bad little bump, one little mistake. That's just how it goes sometimes. But that feels like a win, that's for sure.
Absolutely. And it had to be crazy all race long seeing all these drivers going at it cleanly, but then that inside line and the apron really claiming a lot of drivers all race long. Did your car feel any sense of weirdness when it got to the inside line, or was it comfortable more or less in the middle of the racetrack?
In general, it was really twitchy. I will admit, especially for I'm going to out myself as a controller user, so especially for me, it was touchy. But even just going down there, it kind of naturally pulls a little bit. So if you even just clip it, that can definitely send you in trouble. That's why I favored the middle. I favored even just trying to stay with the lead pack, but being at the very back of it, so that if anything happened, I could slow down. At the end of the day, my only objective was to keep the car in one piece and finish in the lead pack at the end of it. Where I finished didn't really matter, but to come home second is, I really can't explain how big that feels. That's pretty cool, but that was fun, and congrats to Paglia.
Yeah, you did have quite a good run, and if I'm not sure how used to super speedway racing you are, but what was it like to race with a whole group of different types of drivers that don't necessarily get together very often, but then they come together and we get some really good racing out of it? How was the overall experience?
It's pretty cool. I mean, those are RTG guys. I do run with them every now and then at their Talladega Challenge. So they run that every week. Super Speedway Racing is their calling. But there's still some great talent from the Nnscra side. To see them merge together was very interesting. You could tell it was a little shaky at the start. Everyone was kind of trying to figure out the track, figure out everyone else. And I think once they did that, they were able to settle in and run with each other pretty well. So that was really, really cool to see, and I'm glad to have been a part of it.
Well, that is Andrew Miller, driver of the 47 car. Finishes second tonight. Congratulations on your second place finish. Before we let you go, we're going to let you do some shout outs.
I appreciate it. Jaden, I love you. I hope you're watching. That was for you, and of course everyone. Andy, James, Ethan, you guys are awesome. Has Been Hotel is a great show. I hope that they start putting out more episodes at some point. And holy crap! Again, congrats to Paglia. I am going to go calm down because I am anxious as heck after that. But that was a lot of fun. But thank you guys for putting this on as well.
Once again, that is driver of the 47 machine, Andrew Miller. Once again, congratulations on your second place finish. Hope to see you again some other times.
Thank you very much.
And now we're going to get our winner in the booth, Mark Paglia, who went from the front to the back and then back to the front again. We'll get him in for his interview. Mark, it is Anthony in the Flatout Racing Network studios. You got me?
I sure do. You have me?
Yes, sir. Well, congratulations on a really chaotic win tonight. We didn't think it was going to end early, but unfortunately, it kind of did. But still, behind you, chaos erupting. Go from your perspective, being in front of it and seeing all the chaos happen behind you, then having to race back to the line. What was going through your mind those last couple of laps?
Well, we went. Tim Nnscra and I had a little plan that we would pit before everybody else and try to stay out of that mess, and it really worked out because there was a caution which put Tim and I up front. And when things went back to green, our plan was to try to go side by side to keep everybody behind us, and then either one of us go for it at the end. That was the plan we had. Then something happened to Tim. As I looked at the replay, it looked like there was just a off-center car bumping him. It just a bad bump. It wasn't. I don't think anybody's followed the racing deal. And when I saw the carnage behind me, I said, "Heck yes!" And then the 47, I think it was, came in and he got in second place, and I was just sweating that he'd catch me and pass me. But it worked out for me, and it's been a long time since I've won a race like this.
We did see some hardships throughout the race. You started towards the front, was out front for a lot of the first half of the race, and then kind of fell back after a couple of stops, was running around the top 15 or just outside the top 15, and then see you back at the front of the field yet again. And was that because of strategy, or were some things happen on pit road that caused you to go all the way back to the pack and then have to fight your way back to the front?
Yeah, when a caution came out and I was in the lead, I went in and I had a great pit stop. I got out of the pit stall, and then everybody else was coming down. I couldn't get a clean run down pit lane. I had to stop a couple of times, let people in. Chuck McClure and I were side by side. He needed to get into his pit. I was trying to get down the lane and get out, and it just was kind of a mess. But I didn't want to wreck. I figured if I just, even if I was in the back, I still had a chance to get up front somehow. But the pit stalls are always the tough part.
Yeah, and a lot of people were talking about that inside line of the racetrack tonight. It claimed a lot of drivers tonight. We've asked the other two drivers so far, what was your perspective? Do you think that the middle line was definitely easier to run tonight, or was the inside line towards the end of the race seeming to be the better line as we saw some advances being made on that?
Yeah, that middle line I think was the safe way to go. The inside line could be tough and could be fast if we had enough cars. I got down there with Tim and a couple other drivers, and we started to make a little ground down there. You just need to have confidence and pay attention to what you're doing. If you get caught by that yellow line, it just spins you around. And luckily when we were down there, the people in the middle line were giving us room. They weren't squeezing us down. They were being good drivers, good safe drivers, and giving us that room we needed. But we had fun racing the lower line. Personally, I was hoping someone would go to the third line up top, but I couldn't get anybody to go with me.
Well, a big up and down race for you that ends up in the best possible way. I'm sure racing with a lot of your these familiar faces and some new ones have been fantastic tonight. But before we let you go, we're gonna let you do some shout outs.
Absolutely. Shout out to Chuck McClure and Tim Nnscra. They're my teammates when we race every Thursday night at RTG, and they helped me through this one. And shout out to my brother. He's out watching me, and a good friend of mine who I worked with for a long time, John. He's up in Alaska now. I sent him the link. He's watching. So you guys put on a heck of a show, and they always comment on what a great job you guys do. And to my wife, she's gone through 3 bouts of cancer, and she's recovering now. So that's always heavy on my mind as I'm doing this racing. But a shout out to all our RTG guys. We run as a pack, we run as a family, and it was a great night.
Well, congratulations on your win tonight, winning the third Nnscra Daytona 500. I'll get the right one out eventually. But again, congratulations on your victory tonight. We hope to see you again very soon.
Sounds great. Thank you.
Well, that is about to wrap up our broadcast from Daytona tonight. It's been a race of ups and downs throughout the entire run tonight. And again, the winner out of everything is Mark Paglia. And, Mark really done himself good tonight by getting that win. And we all want to thank you for tuning in to our broadcast from Daytona, the third Nnscra Daytona 500, the 2021 edition. We hope to see you again next time when we come back. We don't know when we're going to do this race again, but hopefully it'll be soon, and can't wait to see all of you there. If you're still got the racing bug, that we've got a lot of racing going on the Flatout Racing Network. Tuesday nights, we have the G-Force Vintage 87 series that runs on Tuesday nights. I am there with Seth Cole, and we'll bring you the action for some vintage 87 cars. Those are the best cars, in my opinion, to watch if you want some high octane racing, super fast, low downforce, and a whale of a schedule. Then on Wednesday nights, we have the Sarg Super Speedway series that runs, and the Dark Horse IndyCar series, 2 very different types of motor racing, but you can scratch your motor racing itch. And then on Thursday nights, we have the RTG Tally Challenge, which most of these drivers that you saw tonight get showcased in their normal attire, and they race around Talladega for what is one of the best series if you love super speedway racing. But I'm Anthony McCurry. Thank you all once again for watching our broadcast tonight. The Nnscra 2021 Daytona 500 benefiting St. Jude. Next, we hope to see you again very soon. Until then, goodbye.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of Flatout Racing Network and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Flatout Racing Network and iRacing.com Motorsports Simulations. Flatout Racing Network would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.